In this video, we are going to take a look at the best flight simulators for virtual reality that you will be able to play in 2025. And let's start with the ones you can play right now. First off, IL-2 Sturmovik. If you have a big interest in World War II planes, then you really don't have to look any further. This simulation offers an incredible amount of World War II museum pieces that you can get up in the air right now. Even though this game was released all the way back in 2014, the graphics still hold up quite well in my opinion, and it's always a treat to fly these older birds in VR. A nice bonus is that the game runs really well for most people. For example, on both my mid-tier and high-tier PCs, I can play this game at 90 FPS by tweaking minimal settings while keeping most graphics options high. As for gameplay, there are plenty of single-player campaigns you can start, and the multiplayer scene is still active with dynamic multiplayer campaign servers. The game is often on sale on Steam or their website, and you can grab it for as low as $8. A real bargain if you ask me. If you are interested, IL-2 Sturmovik also offers a variety of World War I planes and campaigns. And flying these older World War I planes is just incredible in VR. And before we go to our next title, a word from our sponsor VRWave.store. These lenses can save your eyes. I always played with glasses and I was always afraid to damage the headset lenses. If I played without glasses, I got eye strain. Now these lenses come with a blue protect filter. They are very easily attachable to the Quest 3, the Index, the PSVR 2, whatever headset you have, they have them. VRWave.store, check them out. I really just don't play without them anymore. Now let's move away from combat and take a look at Aerofly FS4. If you have been following this channel for a while, you might know that this is my favorite flight simulator for flying commercial airliners like Boeing and Airbus. This game was made with VR in mind and therefore it runs extremely well. Another great feature is that you don't need any fancy or expensive HOTAS gear. You can play using your VR controllers, and for immersion purposes, it's just fantastic. Rotating knobs, pressing buttons and switching controls with your hands feels incredibly natural in this game. The sim has very positive reviews on Steam and gets occasional updates with new features and planes. And while it may not look as fancy as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, the VR performance and solid mechanics more than make up for that. Another game built from the ground up for VR, and one of the best, let's be honest, is VTOL VR. What can I say? I have made so many videos on this title. If you have just bought a new VR headset and you want to see if combat flight simulators are your thing, this is where you start. The entire plane is controlled using your VR controllers and it works extremely well, just like Aerofly FS4, but even better. You can pour hundreds of hours into this game thanks to the overload of single player missions and an active multiplayer scene. If you get tired of the default missions, the Steam Workshop offers hundreds, I really mean hundreds of additional missions and co-op experiences for you to explore. Now if you are looking for an upgrade in realism from VTOL VR, you can dive into DCS. Now 2 or 3 years ago it was difficult to get into DCS, or what I mean is to get DCS running smoothly in VR. However, with better hardware, numerous VR-focused updates and headsets like the Pimax Crystal, it's now an absolute blast to spend hours playing this simulation. That said, you will still need a beefy PC for this one, and having a HOTAS setup is optimal. The sense of realism and immersion you get from playing DCS in VR is just insane, and the best out of all games I will mention in this list. I have made several videos on DCS, so check them out if you are curious, And in my latest video, for example, I had landed a CH-47 on an aircraft carrier with a lot of rain and in the storm, and the graphics and realism just blew my mind. However, I wouldn't recommend DCS as your first flight simulator if you are new to the genre. Start with VTOL VR and come back to DCS once you are ready. Now next up is War Thunder. It's always a little bit of a debate whether War Thunder is an actual flight simulator. For me, it is, okay? Sure, it's somewhat arcade-like, but there is a simulation mode where you are locked into your cockpit view without third-person perspectives. And while some flight sim enthusiasts have a love-hate relationship with this game, it's undeniable that War Thunder runs really well in VR and is highly optimized for it. This game is great if you don't have much time to learn complex flight mechanics. In War Thunder, you hop into a multiplayer game if you want to, you start your engines with just a simple press on your keyboard, you take off, and within minutes you are in a dogfight. Of course, I can't complete this list without mentioning Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 or X-Plane 12 for VR. But to be honest though, even with my powerful PC, getting these games to run smoothly in VR is still a struggle. The other flight simulators I mentioned are far better options for VR, especially if you are just starting out. However, if you manage to get everything set up properly, the graphics, especially the ground scenery, are top-notch and unmatched by any other flight simulator in my opinion. Now I have one more lesser known title on the list, and that is Falcom BMS. This is an old game, but don't be fooled. There is an incredibly passionate community behind it that has modded the game into a complete overhaul of the original. If you are an F-16 lover, this is the game for you. And yes, you can play it fully in VR if you want to. Even better, Falcom BMS offers a fully dynamic campaign, which sets it apart from DCS in that matter. Now let's take a look at some of the new flight simulators coming in 2025. At least let's hope so. From the developers of War Thunder, Aces of War is being built from the ground up for VR. The graphics look pretty decent, I am not going to lie, and the game will allow you to manage your plane entirely with VR controllers. It seems like it will stick to the accessible gameplay style of War Thunder to attract a broader audience, but you know, I am excited to try it when it launches, hopefully in Q1 2025. Now up next we have the Mighty 8 VR, and this sim puts you in the shoes of a B-17 Flying Fortress crew member during the height of the strategic bombing campaign over Europe. You will be able to play with up to 9 friends in co-op, each taking different positions within the B-17 bomber. Not much is available online yet, but I'm hopeful we will see it released in 2025. And finally, the game I am most hyped for, IL-2 Korea. The current IL-2 Sturmovik is already fantastic, and knowing they are working on a new series with an updated engine is very exciting to me. The developers have confirmed that VR will be supported from launch, so if you are a fan of the IL-2 series, you are going to be in for a treat. They do a lot of dev blogs, by the way, they do a lot of updates, so if you are curious, just go to il2korea.com. Now, 2025 is looking fantastic for us VR flight simmers, I would say. Let me know if there is a flight sim that I didn't mention. I am always curious to try new things, so yeah, you know, let me know in the comments down below. Now thanks for watching, and as always, if you want to stay updated with the latest VR simulations and reviews, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Ciao ciao!